Welcome to the Power of Music podcast, brought to you by JM International. Get ready to explore conversations with those making a difference through music.
Hello and welcome to the Power of Music podcast, brought to you by JMI Jeunesses Musicales International, the global network of NGOs that empowers young people through music across all boundaries. In this episode, we're joined by Julien Beurms, classical pianist, JMI board member, and executive director of Jeunesses Musicales Wallonie-Bruxelles. With a background that blends artistic excellence and structural innovation, Julien also serves on JMI's classical and communication committees, where he plays a key role in shaping the future of classical programming within the organization. We reflect on 80 years of JMI and the launch of the JMI Unity 80 Orchestra, a new international initiative bringing together exceptional young classical musicians for a high-level artistic and cultural experience. Julien shares his thoughts on what today's classical world truly needs, why entrepreneurial thinking matters, what inspired the Encore program, and how the Classical Committee is working to support the next generation of musicians. As always, if you enjoy our content, don't forget to subscribe, like, and rate the podcast. We hope you enjoy the episode. Thank you so much for joining us today. First, can you share a little bit about your journey into music and how you ended up at JMI?
So I'm a classical musician. I'm a pianist. I started piano when I was 7 years old, I think. So I've been playing the piano for almost 30 years now. When I was a kid, I got the chance to have a piano in my house. So my father bought a piano for my mother for her anniversary. I don't remember which one. Anyway, we had an upright piano. It was not a very good instrument, but good enough to make me feel a lot of love for this instrument. So this is how I started music. Then, I've been in contact with that instrument when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, and then I went to the conservatory in Belgium for 5 years. Then I moved to the US to the New England Conservatory to study there. It was a very nice experience. And when I came back in Belgium, I started to perform, to give concerts, to teach also a little bit. And at the same time, I was also very interested into management and into project entrepreneurship. And this is how I try to combine both worlds, music, piano, culture, and then management. And I had this idea to end up in a position where I can express myself in both roles. So this is how I arrived to JM International since a few years now. I'm executive director of JM Belgium for the French-speaking part. So this is called JM Wallonie-Bruxelles, and that's basically it.
And how was your first contact with JMI? How did you discover about it in the first place?
With my position in Belgium, it got me the chance to discover the international network. So it was 5 years ago, kind of 5 years ago. And I got the chance to join the General Assembly. It was the first time when I met so many people from so many different countries, and where I could see so many different ways of implementing our DNA, the JMI DNA, which is to empower young people through music, because this is our first mission. But of course, there are so many programs, there are so many countries joining the network, and there are multiple ways to do it concretely. So it was amazing. Since I got the opportunity to talk to people from Canada, from Africa, from everywhere. And also it got me the opportunity to share what we do in Belgium. Because actually in Belgium, the Jeunesses Musicales has been created in Belgium in 1940. So now we are celebrating the 80th anniversary of the JMI network. It was created in 1945, but the real beginning of the real creation, it was in 1940 in Belgium, in Brussels. It was really the creation of the Jeunesses Musicales. It is important to mention that and to know that it was really an act of resistance to, it was during the Second World War and against the Nazism. Our founder, Marcel Cuvelier, really wanted to create something to empower young people. And it was done through music, through culture, through art. And now we are 85 years ago, and we have some echoes of that spirit, and that we try to bring again in our daily work.
And maybe before we go into the classical committee, of which you're also the chair, maybe let's talk about the situation in Wallonie-Bruxelles. What do you do in this context, a very different context than 80 years ago? Luckily, no war. How do you empower young people through music in that context?
Yeah. So, of course, today the situation is really different than 85 years ago. 85 years ago, it was mainly classical music. We were offering concerts in Palais des Beaux-Arts, which is now called basically Beaux-Arts. The very first concert of the Jeunesses Musicales, it was for 1,600 young people in Beaux-Arts with Belgian National Orchestra, who were playing Belgian composers. And of course, during 85 years, the whole thing has much evolved. So from classical music, we went to different musical genres. We included later on some jazz music, and then some world music, some pop, some music, some electro. And I can say that today, we really cover almost every genre of classic of music, which is not the case everywhere in every country where we have the Jeunesses Musicales. So this is something we are very proud of, because we really want to offer a diversity in our offering, and we will want to empower young people through music, but through global music and through every style of music. So 85 years ago, it was mainly concerts, but now we offer a concert in schools. We do more than 1,200 concerts every year, so that's quite impressive. But we also offer musical workshops in schools. So we have a bunch of people, musicians, that are going into schools to educate young kids to music. And before educating, because it's maybe not the best word, they give access to music, because most of the kids that we encounter, it's probably for them the first time that they can really play the music, that they can be really active in the ways they experience the music, because most of the time they are very passive. They listen to music on the radio, on YouTube, and it's already very nice, of course, because it's part of their daily life. But for most of them, it's the first time that they can really have an instrument in their hands, then can really discover all the genres of music. And yes, this is really our DNA. So yeah, basically this is what we do in Jeunesses Musicales Wallonie-Bruxelles. Every year we have more than 300,000 children that are benefiting from our activities. We are covering 1/3 of the schools in the French-speaking part of the country. So yeah, we became a very big institution with social impact, and with really this will to be part of the daily life of the young people.
And how do you decide on which artists to play? I had the privilege to once see an actual school concert in Walloon when Otavayo, a Russian act, which was also had a whole history, and it was actually a form of some minor resistance maybe in itself, played, and it also had some interesting podcast episodes. So if you want to listen to that, please go back to one of our previous episodes. But how do you make the decision which artists to let play in schools?
Yeah, so we have an application process, which is quite tough, I would say, but it's important for us to make sure that the artists that are going into schools, they just don't come to play their music like they would do in a festival. We really want them to include pedagogical part in the concert, just to make sure that there is a real link and connection with the kids. So this part is very, very, very important for us. So in the application process, we ask them, to send an regular application with some material, some video, nothing special. And then we really analyze through a committee in our organization what projects could fit into a school. So we have multiple rounds of evaluation, and then we have a live audition, and we try to, as I said earlier, to have artists that represent all musical genres, and also we try to include as much as possible emerging artists into our programming, because of course we have artists that have been playing music for the last 30-40 years. I mean, very experienced musicians, but we also have musicians who are 19 or 20 years old, and that's also very important for us to have those people on board, because for them it's also like the first opportunity to play in a professional context, and we really want to help them in their career to grow and to be coached by us. So this is basically our application process. And also we go to a lot of festivals, to a lot of concerts, just to detect and to find new musicians, new artists. And when we feel that there is a potential into this artist to have like a very good school project, then we get into contact with those people, and we discuss this project that has to fit into schools.
So basically, by getting the young artists, you empower both ways: the young musicians playing and the young audience through the accessibility to music.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of our mission as well. We have different programs that try to really also empower young musicians to play. We have this concert in schools. We have, as I said, these musical workshops, and sometimes those activities that kids and young people have, it leads to a more professional way to learn music. And we have a lot of stories saying of professional musicians saying that oh no, I'm a professional, but you know what? I discovered music through Jeunesses Musicales when I was 6 years old or 8 years old. So we have a lot of stories like this in Belgium, because you can imagine that in more than 50 or 60 years of school concert programming, we have a huge GM family in Belgium. And then we have programs like Imagine, like Ethno, which really give the chance to young musicians to play, to perform, to be coached, to be accompanied, and to get opportunities to nice music festivals and so on.
Let's talk about the classical committee. As you said, it used to be very much classical oriented. I think in some countries, you're also the chair of the classical committee. What do you think is the mission of the classical committee JMI at this moment, in this day and age?
So I've been chair of the classical committee for the last 2 years now, I think. And indeed, classical music is a strong heritage in the JMI network. This is where we come from. And of course, it is still part of our daily activity. Some countries are very, very, very connected to classical music today in the network. Some of them are not so much focusing on classical music. They are doing other programs, which are great, by the way, like Ethno program. But yeah, classical music is a strong heritage. And the question is to ask ourselves, okay, what are the topics, what are the subjects that we can discuss around classical music in 2025? Because, of course, doing classical music today in this period has nothing to do with doing classical music like 20 or 30 or 40 years ago. So we saw that maybe there was a lack in today's world for the classical musician in their learning process and in their education. And some of them, and it's not the case in every country, it's not the case in every conservatory, so I don't want to summarize too easily, but it happens still a lot of time that in the learning process, they're not ready yet or prepared to be a musician, classical musician in the 21st century. We learn them to play very well the music, to play the instrument, and indeed, classical music is a genre that needs a lot of practice. It's like 6, 7, 8 hours a day for many, many years. We used to say that, like for the flight pilots, you need at least 10,000 hours of sky piloting, but it's a little bit the case for piano, violin. So young musicians, they are really trained that way, classically trained. And when they finish the studies at the conservatory, they are just they go into the real world, and then for sometimes it's quite difficult for them to make a career out of that, because there is no many opportunities for all of them. And we try to inform them of that, because not all of them are aware of that, but also we try to give them tips and tricks and tools to help them to grow. And so we think that programs about entrepreneurship, programs where you can really try to think career planning, all things like that. Programs where we can really focus on the performing aspect, but maybe when you have a project, maybe not just think in a only musical way, but try to have some transdisciplinary aspect out of it. Maybe try to think about storytelling, how to convince your audience, how to engage your audience. So we have been trying to put this on the table. And for the last years, we had this program run by the classical committee, which is called Encore. The first edition was in Berlin, I think in 2018. Then we went to Warsaw, and then there was a COVID situation, and we had Budapest for 3 years in a row. And into that program, we really we had a bunch of young participants, 20, 25 participants each time, and we really try to help them to have more clues and tools to be a classical musician in this world. And I think we got some successes, because first of all, most of the students, they were very surprised by the content and the program, and it was for some of them a really eye opener. And also we saw that for some of them, after the program, they had very nice projects, and they still have very nice projects, and life is going very well for them. So this is a little bit what we discussed in the classical committee. And now, in parallel to that, we decided to have a JMI orchestra. You have to know that we had the GM World Orchestra, which was a very it was a huge thing in the GMI history. It was created in 1409, and for almost 60 years, we had this orchestra bringing young people from all over the world. We had the best conductors. We had Lenny Bernstein, who is someone. We had Zubin Mehta. I mean, we had a lot of great people, and some alumni of this GM World Orchestra became huge stars, huge soloists, they entered like the best orchestras in the world. So this is something that we have been very proud of for many years. And then it stopped for some reasons, and we have now this strong heritage, and we really want to have this orchestra again. So we don't have this full symphonic orchestra version this year, but we have a chamber orchestra version. And the thing that I can already say is that we have applicants from all over the world, from at least 4 continents. We have more than 20 nationalities, and it shows that this project, this orchestra, really has its place in this world.
And I also think that it's a special occasion for the 80 years, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we will have this project exactly at the same time of the General Assembly of the JMI network, which will take place in Debrecen in Hungary. And during this General Assembly, there will be a huge focus on our anniversary or birthday, because, as you said, it's their 80th birthday. I think we should celebrate much more our history and have a birthday at least every 5 years, because Jeunesses Musicales is the biggest network in the world. It was recognized by the UNESCO, and there is we have to highlight and we have to speak loudly about the Jeunesses Musicales in this world.
And if you look back at the previous years of organizing Encore, which I had the fortunate pleasure to be a trainer in, and I think it's an excellent program, what do you think is the greatest challenge in organizing such a program, both in attracting the people? Like, are they aware that this is a need, or like, what is your position on this?
The biggest challenge we had, or we have, and it's not only for those programs, because we have this challenge for Encore. We had this challenge for the orchestra, although we got a lot of applications. But it's to spread out the word, actually, and just to make sure that these great programs, but be it for classical music or for other genres, young people are just aware that it exists. Because once they are aware, most of the time they just want to apply, because it's amazing programs. And sometimes we have this little frustration that not everyone was completely aware that it exists, and we really want to solve this reaching out problem, as if I can say it that way.
And maybe because you're touching upon it now, just very briefly, you're also the chair of the communication committee. Is there something happening there to improve the outreach?
Yes, something is happening there as well. Well, communications is a little bit trickier than chairing a committee with musical programs, because about communications, much more than about musical programs, everyone has its own view on how communications should be done. But we have very constructive discussions, and indeed, on the table, we really have this topic high on the agenda, is how to reach out, how to spread the word, how to make our network even stronger than it is today. We have a very strong network, that's for sure. But I do believe that through communications and through appropriate communication, we can be even stronger. Not for the pleasure to be stronger, but for making sure that the young people can really benefit from our activities. So yeah, we have a lot of work there, but it's very exciting.
And to go back to the classical committee, what are your hopes, dreams, ambitions, let's say in 2 years? Where do we stand with the classical committee?
My dreams, or our dreams maybe, is to really bring back classical music high on the agenda, not at the expense of other programs or other genres of music. As I said earlier, my personal point of view is that we have to bring all genres of music to young people. We have very strong musicians in pop, in rock, in electro, and those people also have to be brought to young people. But since the evolution of JMI, and maybe of the society as well. Classical music gets less and less less attention, and so we really want to put it high on the agenda again, and to have as many applicants, as many young musicians applying to our programs, and maybe try to make it more diverse, but also more global, because classical music has a very strong heritage, a very strong Western heritage, and we have to say, we shouldn't be blind about that it's sometimes linked to some perception of elitism. And we really want to break this barrier somehow, because we do believe that classical music is very accessible, and that every young musician, every kid can really enjoy and benefit from classical music.
If people want to find out more about the Classical Committee and their work, apply to any of the programs, or even for the Belgian context, artists want to apply to play in schools, or even people want to connect with you personally or directly, where can they find all the organizations? Where can they find you?
So for the programs of JMI, there is the website jmi.net. And then for the Belgian activities, we have our website, jeunesesmusicales.be. And on that website, you can easily find my contact, and I would be very, very happy to help or to support anyone in his discovering process of classical music or any other genre of music.
As always, the very last question. What is the power of music?
Music doesn't have just one power. It has multiple powers. Music is a life companion. Music has this magical ability to transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. Remember, you have been probably dancing while doing dishes or belting out lyrics in the car. Music is a social glue as well. It brings people together. It creates moments of connection and shared joy. It's basically, I'm sure other people said that before me, but this is very true. It's the universal language that requires no translation. Music has also this impressive ability to evoke memories and emotions. And studies have also shown that music can reduce stress, to lower blood pressure, and even boost your immune system. It's like a spa day for your soul. So yeah, music has multiple powers. It's more than just sound. It's a companion. It's a healer. So next time someone asks you about the power of music, just tell them that it's the soundtrack to life, and everyone deserves a good tune.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ricardo.
Thank you very much for listening. If you want more information about JM, or you would like to get involved, visit www.jmi.net. At JMI, we are on a mission to make the world more musical. That's why we created Mubazar, a digital platform that helps us manage all our musical activities across 80 countries worldwide, connecting musicians with opportunities to grow both personally and professionally. If you are a music professional looking for a better way to manage and promote your music activities, check out Mubazar. Created for music organizers, by music organizers, Mubazar allows you to run music competitions, workshops, camps, auditions, masterclasses, awards, events, and much more. Mubazar offers custom application forms, payments for your activities, jury tools, translations, analytics, and more. Mubazar is fast becoming the best place for musicians to find and apply for music opportunities online, and you can sign up today for a free organizer account by going to www.mubazar.com, registering, and then requesting to upgrade to an organizer on the right-hand menu. For more info, don't hesitate to get in touch via support@mubazar.com. It would mean a lot to us if you could give us 1 minute of your time and rate and review the podcast. In case you have any suggestions or would like to be one of our next guests, feel free to reach out to us through the JMI socials.